First off, I owe you all a massive apology for being quiet on the channel recently. Right after getting struck down with a pretty rough illness, I was away on holiday after that. I really appreciate your patience while I was recovering, but while I was away, I finally pulled the trigger on a much needed overhaul for my entire setup. For a long time, I was stuck in limbo trying to decide how to handle my gaming hardware moving forward. Today, I'm walking you through how I turned a compact handheld PC into a primary brain of my sim racing rig, why crazy desktop PC component prices push me down this road, and how it handles real-world racing titles when hooked up to a full command center. I've owned my trusty MSI GP72 7RE Leopard Pro laptop for 9 years now. Powered by an old Intel i7 7700 HQ and a 2GB GTX 1050 Ti. It handled my daily work fine, but as I got deeper into sim racing, it hit an absolute brick wall. Trying to run modern track assets with only 2GB of VRAM was painful, and with Microsoft officially ending support for Windows 10, keeping that old machine connected as my daily system just wasn't safe or practical anymore. But here was my exact goal with this upgrade. I didn't want to go out and spend thousands of pounds on a massive desktop PC. My goal was to take the exact same budget I paid for that MSI laptop 9 years ago, match it today, but walk away with massive leap in internal silicon, modern features, and future upgradability. Rather than spending an astronomical amount on a pre-built desktop tower, I built out a handheld ecosystem around the new Xbox Ally X 2025 edition. To be completely transparent with you guys, here is every single accessory and cable I picked up to make this work, along with the exact prices I paid for these. The 2025 ROG Xbox Ally X Z2 Extreme Chip 24GB RAM Edition, $849.99. JSOX RGB docking station, $54.99. The JSOX hard carry case, $29.99. Ugreen HDMI 2.1 cable, 3 meters, $14.44. SpeedGen screen protectors 2-pack, $16.99. Anker 100-watt USB-C charger, $44.99. That brings my complete all-in conversion cost to £1,041.38. When you consider that a single high-end desktop graphics card alone can easily cost more than that whole list combined, matching my 9-year-old price point for a full modern setup feels like a massive win. Now let's set realistic expectations right out of the gate. I am not claiming that this handheld is going to let you max out every single modern AAA game at ultra settings with full ray tracing. That was never the idea behind this upgrade. If your goal is raw, maxed out ultra graphics at native 4K, you still need to pay top dollar for a dedicated desktop GPU. What I wanted was a balanced, modern engine that gives me fluid performance without breaking the bank. Powered by AMD's Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme chip, and packed with a massive 24GB of ultra-fast LPDDR5X RAM. The Ally X gives me flexibility I never had in my old 2GB laptop. Because system memory is shared, I can allocate a full 8GB of memory purely to VRAM for track textures, while keeping 16GB free for Windows 11 and background apps. Now I want to be fair here. The PS5 Pro is still the undisputed king of plug-and-play simplicity. If you just want to sit on the couch, press a button, and play games with zero configuration, console wins every time. But a console is a closed box. It locks you out of deep customization. By choosing the Ally X, I got modern performance at my target budget while keeping the door wide open for PC-level freedom. And that brings us to the biggest reason I chose this path. Peripheral expansion for sim racing through SimHub. On a closed console, you're locked into whatever basic real inputs a developer builds into the game. On Windows 11 running SimHub, in the background it completely transforms what your rig can do. By having a full PC architecture driving the rig, I can connect telemetry displays, custom LED shift lights, tactical base shakers and button boxes. More importantly, this setup gives me the exact runway I wanted to expand my sim racing peripherals with, extra displays and telemetry hardware long into the future using SimHub as the brain. As for on-track performance, let's look at the footage. First up is F122 on Steam. The Z2 Extreme handles high-speed wheel inputs effortlessly. Going through tight chicanes, there's no noticeable input lag between my wheel adjustments and what happens on screen. It feels locked in and responsive. Next up is Assetto Corsa Rally on Steam. Loose gravel stages, dust particles, dynamic lighting, and complex surface physics used to completely overwhelm my old 2GB GTX 1050 Ti laptop. Allocating 8GB of VRAM on the Ally X changes the game completely. The stage assets load seamlessly, and force feedback signals feed to my wheel without dropping packets, and FreeSync Premium Pro on my TCL TV keeps the display running silky smooth without screen tearing. Now, as a bonus outside of sim racing, I wanted to see how this setup handles non-racing PC titles. When I step away from the wheel and just want to kick back with a controller, to make this work cleanly, I run an app called DSX, straight through Steam. Even though the Ally X has Xbox-style controls built into the handheld body, when I'm playing third-person titles docked to the TV, I prefer to use my PS5 DualSense controller. DSX tricks Windows and Steam into recognising the DualSense as a native Xbox gamepad, giving me full rumble support, zero wireless latency, and perfect button mapping in games that usually fight PlayStation controllers. Testing this out in the Division 2 on Steam, the performance speaks for itself. Moving through the dense open world combat in Washington DC, with dynamic weather and explosion effects active, the Ally X handles it like a champ. Going from a struggling 9-year-old laptop to this level of smooth third-person gameplay with a DualSense pad is a huge step up for me. At the end of the day, I didn't build this setup expecting to run every single game at ultra settings. I built it to match what I paid for my old laptop 9 years ago, while upgrading to modern silicon and opening the door to endless peripheral expansion through SimHub. For £1,041 total, the 2025 ROG Xbox Ally X setup successfully replaced my dying 9-year-old laptop, powers my entire SimRig telemetry ecosystem, and lets me jump between games like Assetto Corsa Rally and the Division 2 without hassle. Thank you so much for watching and hanging in there while I was away recovering. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. How are you handling your hardware upgrades right now? Drop your questions below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for the next rig update, and I'll catch you all out in the circuit. And remember, at Friday nights at 10 PM, if you wish to join us for some races, please feel free to reach out. You can add me on PlayStation, I'll give you my gamer tag, and we can hook up on Friday nights at 10 PM. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next one. And remember, be free, be happy.